After the big release of Jedi Survivor, I thought I would go small this month and take a look at a brand new game from an independent German publisher called Critical Rabbit. Their latest release, The Fall of Porcupine, promises to be an emotional journey into the role of healthcare professionals told by quirky humanoid animals. As always, this is a spoiler-free review and I'll only be talking in generalised ways about the plot as we go, so you can enjoy it for yourself. The game opens with our pigeon protagonist Finley heading back to work after a traumatic event. He is a junior doctor who has recently moved to the town of Porcupine to complete his training in their general medicine department. Along with his friends and new acquaintances from the hospital and town, Finley must traverse a complex set of events that highlight some of the key issues with modern medical practice today. You get to help make diagnoses through small mini-games and make decisions about how you speak to both patients and their loved ones. The game is a very simple scroller, so you can't go wrong with the mechanics, meaning your focus is always drawn back to the story. This game was clearly made with love, and the gentle graphics work well to create a calm environment to deal with difficult issues. Critical Rabbit spoke with many medical professionals whilst creating this game, and you can feel the daily frustrations healthcare workers face in every interaction throughout the game. Even when things are going well, there's still this expectation that doctors, nurses and other practitioners should somehow be doing more, at a detriment to their own health. Although the game follows a hospital aligned with the German current healthcare situation, it will be easily recognisable to anyone, for example from the UK or USA, with a range of public accesses to treatment, but also a separate private element available. As the game progresses, you begin to see just how difficult the current situation is in Western medical care. People are living longer with much more complex requirements, yet healthcare resources are often massively underfunded, which puts unfair pressure on their workers. And there is also this expectation that we as modern societies now have towards medicine. Doctors and other medical practitioners are treated like magical and infallible fix-all wizards, when sadly that is just not the case. People sometimes just cannot be fixed, even if no mistakes are made. Add in the woefully underfunded and overused status of so many hospitals and things are going to go wrong. There's a reason that in the UK, 170,000 staff left the NHS in 2022 due to stress and workload. The Fall of Porcupine attempts to shine a light on the people who keep our healthcare systems going and show that they, just as much as their patients, are people and need to be treated with respect and care. In terms of gameplay, I had a couple of issues with glitches, including having to restart when the game stopped responding to my controller. That aside, I loved the graphics and style as a welcome change from the usual first or third person games I play. The kind of minor issue I had was to do with the way the story panned out towards the end of the game. Don't get me wrong, I have just spent most of the review praising what Critical Rabbit are attempting to do, but I think there could have just been more. The mini-games were a clever way to make the player feel part of the action, but they made it a bit too easy and also dragged you away from the reality of practicing medicine because mini-games are meant to be fun. The player also never felt under too much pressure due to the style of game. You would see maybe 3 patients in a shift, which is woefully under what a real doctor would see, so things never felt particularly stressed or showed the true nature of the pressures of working in such an environment. Whilst I won't spoil the ending, I found it a bit of a letdown as it seemed to imply that the problems faced in healthcare today are in fact the fault of individuals and not a culture-wide issue with how we perceive healthcare and the demands that we place on those who choose it as a vocation. I do have family and friends in healthcare, so maybe I was anticipating too much from this game, but if they hadn't set it up as a response to the pressures placed on healthcare practitioners and instead just released it as a normal game, maybe I wouldn't have had such high expectations. That isn't to say you shouldn't play The Fall of Porcupine in the slightest. It is a calming and often delightful experience where you get to develop relationships with the town and there is so much to discover as you go. And if it changes the way that you think about your local doctor next time you book an appointment, then I and Critical Rabbit will be very happy.